Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Start the Week with Spencer. This is our weekly webinar here at Doman International, where parents of children with special needs from around the world join, and we invite them and encourage them to ask us their biggest and toughest questions. And today we've got a special guest. We have Ashley Budzig. Thanks for joining us, Ashley. Let me tell you, just talk for a second about Ashley. So Ashley, I believe, came for her first appointment at Doman International back in February.
Yep. February, yeah.
For her daughter, Callie. And, you know, when we named this episode, we called it 3 months of the Doman Method, although I think we chose that name a couple months ago. Now it's a few more months. But what I wanted to, often when I have mothers join this show or dads join the show, they're parents who have done the program for a few years.
Yeah.
And I felt it would be really great to speak to someone who started and just to hear about what Ashley has learned along the process and any advice that she has for other parents.
Yeah.
Ashley, thanks so much for joining.
Thank you. I'm really happy to be here, and especially because it's been such a great experience for us. Prior to joining the Doman Method and meeting with you guys, I was really searching a lot for holistic techniques, a team, and it seemed like I was going to a lot of different therapies. I was going to, I have two other boys. So I have a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old. And I was homeschooling at the time. Now they're in school, but my life's very busy. And so I was trying to fit in taking her to multiple therapies a week. And I wasn't seeing a whole lot of progress. And so I just started searching. And my chiropractor actually recommended, she's like, I have read the Doman books, and based on how Callie's doing after seeing her in regular PT and OT and things, I really think that the Doman is what Callie needs. And so she kind of pointed me in the direction. I ordered the books, and as soon as I started reading, I read the book behind you, From Special Needs to Wellness.
Yeah.
And every line that I was reading, it just resonated with me. And I was like, this is exactly the mindset and the techniques and the team and people that I really want to surround myself with. And so we scheduled the call, and I talked to you, Colleen, I believe, and you helped me answer a bunch of questions, and I just loved everything. So we went for the 3-day intensive, and I was so blown away at the 3-day. And I just knew everything was so, what's the word I'm looking for? I felt like before there was no clear path, and everyone was kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall to see kind of how they could help Callie. And while all the intentions are so good, I felt like when I met with you guys, it was like a proven path. Like, this is what we're going to do for her vision. This is the step-by-step for her mobility. And like, it felt very like a clear path. And I loved it.
Well, thanks so much for that. Do you mind telling us a little bit about Callie? Like, when was it first that you realized that, there might be a problem?
So Callie, our pregnancy was great. It was actually upon delivery. She was fine. The first 24 hours, she was just presenting a little stiff and just wasn't responding as well as they would like her to. So they did an EEG and found that she was having just abnormal activity. So she actually wasn't having what you would see as a seizure. So it was just abnormal brain activity. So they tried a bunch of different things. And it was actually just a drug-resistant abnormal brain activity. So they did a genetic test, and then it came back that she had GABRA1, which is a genetic condition. It's de novo, so it's just kind of a random mutation. So they connected us with a group of people with her condition. It's a seizure disorder, and it does lend to low muscle tone And it can really be a range of 0 to 100. So a lot of kids with GABRA1 are in kindergarten and functioning fairly well. And then there's other kids that are not mobile and having a harder time. So it really was like a guessing game. So no one can really tell us exactly what the outcome is because there's so many ways it can go. And so I think that's something that I've always been an optimist and always shot for the best because I feel like why not? And that's why when I was reading your book and you focus more on healing the brain and focusing it more about healing brain injury, it really resonated with me because I never wanted to say like this is Callie's disorder or condition. And I wanted to focus more on like how can we optimize her life regardless, like just make her live her best life. And that's what I really love about your program is you focus more on the child, focusing on improving them where they're at and not really focus so much about the actual what the label is. And so I feel like it's a lot a more I just love the optimism on that any child can improve. And yeah, it's been really helpful.
No, thank you. Those are all beautiful, beautiful sentiments.
Yeah. So so Callie wasn't really seeing the world around her. She has vision, nothing per se wrong with her eyes, but she was kind of keeping her eyes closed a lot. She wasn't moving when we brought her to you, not really alert and able to enjoy life as much. She had moments, but on the whole, we were just really hoping to get her to be more present.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know if I've ever said this to you, Ashley, but we definitely noticed it together. I'll never forget when I first evaluated Callie.
Yeah.
Like you said, her eyes were closed.
Yeah.
Not really interacting with what we were doing. And by the way, we're doing some pretty wild things like, checking the light reflex and shining flashlights into her eyes and things like that to see her visual response.
Yeah.
And she wasn't responding a lot. And then we started to go over the sensory integration part of the program. And that includes some for children that need it, some strong tactile stimulation. And so I gave Callie a pinch as part of kind of evaluating her tactile ability. And for the first time in the session, she opened her eyes wide up, right? Wide open. And she just started looking around.
Yeah.
And for me, it was actually an important reminder. It's really stuck with me about how important sensory stimulation is. I mean, I teach sensory stimulation programs all the time, but sometimes you need these reminders of, I think for Callie on that day, it was like the first thing she felt that was worth opening her eyes over.
Exactly. Well, and what we've noticed through the program, I was very impressed with the tactile section too, because she stayed alert for a significant amount of time after you did the brushing. And so it was really helpful for me as well to see that, she needs a lot of input. And I actually realized how important it was to like wake her up as opposed to like letting her kind of be in that comfort zone. So it was really cool for me. And when we got home, it's been really amazing because when I'm consistent and when I do it, there's days when I get busy with the boys and I didn't get to the sequence or something. And I notice a clear difference between her alertness and looking around on the days that I do the full vision program, tactile program, everything. When she gets it, she's always way more alert the day after or the day of, as opposed to if I miss some things, I just notice it. So it's really amazing at how she responds to the tactile and vision. And it's been really fun to be able to help her kind of start noticing the world around her. And like even the sounds, she's starting to really want to hear, like she likes the baby laughing one or the goat one. And I'm starting to be able to see like what she likes. And when I do the brush, she used to just kind of cry, but now she's pulling her hand away from the brush So
Yep.
she's becoming more involved in it every day. So it's really neat.
Would you mind? So you came in February
Uh-huh.
for your first appointment, and you go home and you start the program. Do you mind just telling us, what does a day look like? Like,
Yeah,
talk us through.
sure.
Yeah, like, what are the major things that you're doing as
Yeah.
part of this
So
program?
I made a checklist and I basically made it on I laminated a sheet with my checklist so I can just wipe it off and I go through. So we start with the BEP, breathing, mask, which I do want to make a note on that is on days when she's, a little off, I would say, the breathing mask has been the quickest thing to bring her back to more of a clear, calm baseline. So it's like been super helpful for her
And
with her
can
brain
I,
activity.
sorry, I'm going to interrupt you because I want to ask a question.
Yeah.
So when you say she's off, do you mean like her mood is off, or she's not
So
as
like if
interactive?
Callie's teething, like she'll have months on end where she's pretty calm, but then like the
Mhm.
teething's pretty rough for her. So I was talking to
Mhm.
Melissa on our last call, and for whenever she gets like a lot of teeth, like right now she's getting 4 molars and then her these 2 teeth. So it's just a lot.
Mhm.
And it used to spawn her into like seizures.
Mhm.
So we actually were in the hospital the last time she got her 2 front teeth and 2 bottom teeth. It's just a lot for her system. And this time I did notice like an uptick in a little bit of spasticity.
Mhm.
But with the breathing treatments and staying consistent with those, she totally stayed at a baseline of no seizures. So
Wow.
and we didn't have to increase her medication or take her anywhere. And I
That's
even
great.
did it a few times in the middle of the night when she would get a little, I don't want to call it seizures, but she just gets a little bit more like jittery almost with her teething.
Mhm.
And I just would do the mask. And within maybe a couple masking sessions, she was completely calm and sleeping. So it's been a huge factor for her, even just with her breathing. She's had much deeper breaths. She used to have her mouth open a lot more. And
Mhm.
as we're progressing with this program, she has her mouth closed a lot more and she's breathing through her nose. So it's just helping her in many ways. And one thing, just if a mom's hopping on to listen, I wanted to talk about comfortability because a lot of people think, oh, we want our kids to progress. And of course, that is our end goal. But when I first joined Doman, my main target was to just have Callie comfortable and be able to be comfortable throughout the day. And because she was just super uncomfortable, throwing up all the time,
Mhm.
horrible digestive issues. We had a lot of saliva issues. So comfortability, you can't underestimate just a program that's within 6 months gotten Kelly to be comfortable every day. And even with her teething, which could be pretty bad and even end up in the hospital, she's been out at 4th of July parties, out doing things. Knows I'm not suctioning anymore. We have periods where I do like for drool, but it's not like that daily suctioning. And this was
Mhm.
all because your team helped me with nutrition. They helped me like take out a lot of things through an elimination process that were triggering different responses for her. And now we're on a really great whole blend natural foods. Her diet is super clean, organic. And then we got on a supplement that also it's called NeuroCalm that's helped kind of calm things down. So it's been a process of working with you guys to where her brain's healing, her stomach's healing, she's just healing in general. So just to be comfortable every day, our life has significantly improved in quality. And just we're going to friends' houses and hanging out. We're just living a normal life, which
Yeah.
you can't underestimate that as a mom.
Yeah, and I really appreciate you bringing up the comfortability thing, because it's
Yeah,
something that for most of us we just take for granted every day.
exactly.
And but if you've ever had a loved one who's dealing with chronic pain, for example,
Hmm.
you can see their personality completely change.
Oh yeah.
I,
Well,
I
I
had a
read
family.
your book. You talked a lot about how the first thing that we need to do is get the child to, I think it was be feeling well.
Yeah,
Because if you're not feeling well, you don't want to crawl, you don't want to
yeah,
work on progress. So I think a lot of people don't talk about it enough because it's kind of not fun to talk about. These kids do have nights where they just don't feel good at all night. And I know because I'm friends with a lot of the moms. So, we don't post those things on social media,
yeah.
right? But there are issues that kids are dealing with where just makes them not feel well. And so I think the biggest thing so far is just she's consistently feeling well. And to me, that's just like a huge blessing.
No, that's great. Now,
Yeah.
can you? Sorry, I actually interrupted you.
No, you're fine.
And by the way, I will urge, if whether you're watching us right now on Instagram or Facebook, YouTube, if you type a question into the comments box, Ashley and I are more than happy to answer your questions.
Yeah.
But Ashley, you had started telling us what your your daily routine looks like on the Doman
Yes.
method. So you start with breathing enhancement.
Yep.
What are the other things you?
So I ended up getting a blackout tent, and maybe I can, if anyone wants, I'll be posting some pictures of my setup. But I got a blackout tent. I have a chair in there with a cart, and it has the mask, it has all her tactiles, and it has of the flashlight. So that way I'm able to really optimize the time. So we do most of the things in the tent. So I do the hot cold in there, masking, we do the vision therapy, we do the tactile, the air horn, and then I have a really nice massage table set up. So then we go into the massage, onto the massage table, do all her patterning, her balance and movement. And then once her sequence is over, she gets to take a little nap. She usually naps afterwards because she's pretty tired. And then we do the second sequence, sometime between lunch and 3 o'clock, depending on our day. So I usually wake up, I give Callie her supplements, her food, I feed my boys, then we jump into her first sequence and we give it a little break in between and do her second sequence. And the program is so great because I've trained my mom how to do it. And so my mom is helping with one sequence a day. So usually while I'm hanging out with the boys making breakfast for them, she goes in the tent and starts Callie's first sequence. And then we both do the patterning together. So that's the other thing I love about it is you can shift your day around because with other therapy programs, your appointment's at 9. You have to pack up, take your kids with, find a sitter for them, get to the therapy. You're there. It's not really changeable. With this, if Callie's a little off, or maybe she's just not wanting, she's like pooping or something, or, there would be times when she would be just wanting to do something else in the morning and not in the zone of therapy, but that time's at 9. So we would kind of be like, well, let's give her a massage and kind of help her work things out. And then that would be my session. So now it's like I can dictate the day. If I want to shift it to 10, we do 10. So that's the other thing I love about it. Plus it's mobile. So like with the kids, we've been taking them to Indiana on the little weekends and things. And we were at a lake house. I brought all my stuff with me. Everything goes in a bag. And I can continue her therapy even if we're out of town. Oh, wait, I can't hear you. I can't hear you, Spencer. You're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So you were telling me before about some of the progress in her vision and in
Yeah.
her health. So
Yeah.
could you talk about that?
Sure. So her vision has significantly improved to the point where family members are just so excited. When we brought her to a party the other day, they hadn't seen her in a while, and she was just hanging out, looking around. She's looking at the surroundings. When someone comes up, she's looking at you. Even with the board, you can see her new board behind. When we first started, it was just the black and white squares, because that's about all she could take in at a time. And now we've added, little black and white figures, and she notices when I put up a new one.
Wow.
Yeah, so her eyes are open most of the day.
Wow.
Yeah. And when we do the vision program, she's like clearly looking at the pictures on the laptop now. And just, you can just tell we were at the lake, and I had her on the little pier. And it was just a really amazing moment for me as a mom, because she was just comfortably looking at the water, looking at the kids playing. And you could tell she was enjoying the view. Like, she was actually soaking in the surroundings, and it was sunny. So that's even, to be outside in a brighter area and still have her eyes open. It was awesome.
Yeah. And has she, I think I saw you make a post recently where you posted a photo of her smiling.
Yeah. So she does smile. And the thing is that she really loves it, because the boys actually get to help out a lot with the program too. So like, even her little cousin Eloise, she's a little younger than Callie, so she's a year and a half. She sometimes will come and do the soft brush, and it just gives the kids, like, they know like how to play with her, and they can use the program almost like as a way to play with Callie, and like, she really loves it. But yeah, she is smiling a lot more. And I would say in general, she's wanting more interaction. So she like wants kids to come over and talk to her. And you can tell that she's like zoned in on like wherever the kids are. Like, she's really aware of like what's going on. And before, maybe she was aware, because I think she was in her mind, but she wasn't able to let you know that she wanted it or that she liked it. And she's getting much better at letting us know, like, I like this, I don't like that.
Yeah.
So those are like amazing milestones for us, just to be able to communicate with her. And when you're with her every day, you begin to know that she does have a lot of things she likes and doesn't like. And now she can let us know.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love what you just said about how her older brothers doing the stimulation with her
Yeah.
is their way of playing with her,
Yeah.
because
Well, they want to find a way to connect. And the thing I will say about siblings and any little kids is, if you ever want to know like how to treat kids with special needs, you just watch little kids and their siblings, because it's so natural for them. I mean, they just find a way to include her in any game, which is really amazing. But I think they've really enjoyed being able to be a part of the therapies. It makes them feel good, and they notice like if she's improving. Like, they're the first ones like, oh, she moved her arm here, or like she's noticing this, or like, Mom, Callie's looking around. So like, they're like excited about it all.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And sometimes parents will express a concern about, but if I'm going to do these therapies with my child with special needs, it's going to take me away from my other kids.
Yeah.
That might harm them. What are your thoughts on that?
So I love that you're bringing this up, because in your book, it was actually a chapter that really resonated with me, because you talked a lot about how, it's actually the opposite. When you're helping their sibling get well, it's actually helping them too. And it really was a good viewpoint for me, because I think there's a lot of messages on social media right now where they even call it, I think, like glass children or something, where basically the siblings get left behind because you're focusing so much on their special needs sibling. And I never really resonated with that because I always said, well, when you need help with this, we help you with that. When your brother needs help with this, we'll help you with that. Like, this is what Callie needs help with. And I've approached it more with as playing with Callie, because if you take a 1-year-old or 2-year-old, like my little cousin Eloise, I mean, they're all over the place. You're following them around. You're taking them to the mommy and me play dates. You're doing things with your toddler and other kids. You're taking your brother to football practice. So I think it's no different. It's just the way it's framed. So this is what we do for Callie. This is our playtime, and this is what we do for you. We take you to football. Now we're doing Callie's, play program.
Right.
So I think it's all the way that you present it. And I think it really does help them too to be involved because they feel like they're a part of it. But yeah, I think too, it's even helped my mom because now she has a way to also really interact with Callie. And I think sometimes anyone, it's like, okay, I want to connect. I want to do something to help my granddaughter or my niece, but like, what do I do? And I think it's cool because you could teach anyone in your family how to do this, and it is a playtime. And that's how my mom will say, okay, Callie, let's go in your tent. Let's start our playtime together. And like, Callie loves it.
Yeah. Yeah. And the funny thing is the whole idea of like the sibling jealousy of the child with special needs, I only see that with families that divide their kids. Usually it's inadvertently.
Yeah.
It's usually a parent with a very, what parents will say is, I don't want to burden my well neurotypical child with all the therapies I have to do with my other child.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to include them. I'm not going to burden them. That's the kind of idea.
Yeah.
And so what ends up happening is they kind of separate the kids.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, I'm either spending time with you or I'm spending time with you. And then what the children learn is, oh, mom and dad's time has to be, is a competition. I need to compete to get mom's time because it's me or them.
Right.
But when you do shared time together as a family, you learn, oh, we do things as a family.
I do notice
and there's no need for jealousy.
Yeah. And I mean, since we've started the Doman program, I do notice a change because before it was separate because I would take Callie to therapies and I was taking her to the hospital a lot more. And so naturally I wasn't home doing that, or they were sitting there kind of waiting in the waiting room, which isn't really that fun for little kids, So this has really brought our family together. I never have to leave. They're a part of it. My mom gets to come and be a part of it. It's fun. I mean, the thing that I do love about your program is it is kind of like a homeschool for your kid. So when I was homeschooling the boys, it feels very similar. It's fun activities. It's easy to do. And it's just, it creates an environment in the home that's very upbeat and you're just kind of able to integrate in. So I absolutely love that aspect. I did want to say one thing about the thing that's true is when your kid's not feeling well, you do kind of tend to want to isolate them from the siblings because you don't really want your kids to see someone not feeling well all the time. So I do notice that when Callie was a little bit more off with her saliva, the suctioning, maybe a little spastic, I would want her to be away a little bit more because I felt bad that they would have to be seeing that all the time. And so her being well has also really improved just our family dynamic because she can just be comfortably with us all the time. And it is a much better environment.
Yeah. Yeah.
More, so that there's just a lot of layers to how the program helps. And I think I would say to any parent that it's really a wellness program for the whole family. because it brings a stability and a calm and a real comfort to the whole family.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, we have a few questions and comments that have been posted from parents. I want to just go through them with you. So Stacy says, I'd love to see an interview with a parent who has a child with global developmental delay and is doing your program.
So I would say Callie does have global development delay. I mean, she is immobile, she doesn't speak, and she, she's just now working on her vision. In all, I don't really, label her necessarily, but if you do all the checklists, she would fall under the global development delay. So Stacy, that is my daughter, and I would say she's improving in every area, slowly but surely. And that's the other thing, is it is a marathon. And so having the team with you, like I meet with Melissa every month, and I can send her WhatsApps and I can send her videos, and she can tweak the program. Like, we're just now going to start Callie on the ramp, and we're already starting the ramp, and it's only been 6 months. So that, Stacy, that's going to help her start beginning to crawl. But all these, so you have a team with you every step of the way that's helping you tweak nutrition, tweak the vision program, tweak your oxygen breathing program, your patterning, the tactile. And so maybe one area, like her vision is improving the most, so we keep her progressing with that while we're working on her mobility is catching up, right? So the cool thing is you can just go as the child is progressing every week to month and keep them improving.
Perfect. Thank you for that answer.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you, because it is true. Some children are given maybe an official diagnosis of global developmental delay. But that being said, the vast majority of children we see could be classified as having a global developmental delay, in the sense that they're delayed in almost every area of their development.
Yeah. And I mean, Callie's pretty severe in the sense that I would say, she has, no mobility in that sense, right? So the thing that I love about your program is it's helping her improve in every area. Mm-hmm. So I noticed too, like as one area improves, the others start to follow.
It's a global developmental program. I just thought of that. Okay.
I think maybe some parents listening too would wonder, oh, well, if my child's issues aren't the result of a genetic condition, but the fact is that in the many years that Doman Method has been around, we've been working with children who, because testing wasn't widespread or it wasn't as sophisticated, their global developmental delay was most likely a result of a genetic condition that had never been diagnosed, because we just weren't doing that in the 70s, the 80s. It's really just a matter of the function.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Ashley also pointed out at the beginning that even children with Callie's specific genetic condition vary greatly. Like some kids are in school and seemingly doing fine, and other kids have great delays in their development. And that's actually a typical thing that we see across the spectrum with different genetic diagnoses. Kids with very mild symptoms all the way to very severe. And that's because the brain development has been affected for those children in different ways.
Yeah. And I do want to note that Callie did have a hemorrhage at birth. Okay. And there was what my neurologist would classify as a slight brain injury as well. So even with Callie, it's like a little bit of a brain injury / genetic. So I think like, had she not had that, brain injury portion, maybe her genetic, it wouldn't have presented. Like some kids don't really notice until like 3 years old, or it's very hard to say. And that's what I love about your program, is it's just taking what I loved the how you guys do the chart, because it shows you where the brain injury is, and then you focus on healing that area. So I think it, to Stacy's point, I think it would help your child no matter what is going on, because it's all a healing of the brain, period.
Mm-hmm. Great point.
So.
All right. So we have a question here. What would be your most important advice for parents who are undecided about doing the program? It can seem like a big and sometimes scary commitment.
Do you want me to answer that?
Yeah, you take it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You put the question back up.
Oh, sure.
I wanted to see her name.
Leslie.
Okay, Leslie. So, undecided. So I know exactly how you're feeling, because there are so many programs, and me, myself, I flew to New York. I mean, we were doing trials. I was taking Kelly everywhere, and there are so many options. I think for you, you have to decide, what is it that you want to align yourself with. And with the Doman, you get a team, you get doctors, therapists, vision therapy. Colleen can be like a counselor, helping you. With the tactile mobility, you're getting specialists in every area, and they have a proven path. So even in your book, you have statistics on, how many percentage of kids increase their vision from this program, how many people increase their hearing, and just seeing the statistics alone and how it's just such a proven method. And when I did your online program, you get training on why it's working. And for me, it's just been so much more of a clear path, and it's holistic. So the program is about getting towards wellness, which means more not on drugs, more actual healing. I'm kind of rambling, but I think for me, it just checked every box as to what I wanted to align myself with. And if it is a marathon and it's going to be a couple years minimum, you want to be with people who believe in your kid, have a vision, have a plan, are there with you every step of the way, and makes your life easier. So those were kind of the reasons that I really wanted to go with the program.
Great. Thank you. All right. We've got a comment here from Virginia, who she's making a comment, not a question. She's saying, "Glory to God. Congratulations, Mom, for your dedication. Your child will get better and better."
Oh, thank you.
All right. Okay. So I guess my next question. So you mentioned you have two older boys.
Yeah.
And so how do you said that they help out with the program?
Yeah.
With parts of it. They are 6 and 8.
Yeah.
So what parts of the program do they help with?
So Noah likes to do the tactile. So he likes to do the brushing, the soft. He does the cold, and then I'll do the hot, because you have to test the spoon and make sure it's not too hot. But he loves, it's cold, Callie, it's cold. They do the sounds. Stevie actually got trained in how to do some of the patterning. So before my mom was really home from Florida, because she travels to Florida, I trained Stevie. So me, my husband, and Stevie, my 8-year-old, we would do the patterning together. And I think what you'll find is too, kids are really capable. So if you show them, they can pretty much do a lot of it, with me, obviously. And then Noah really liked showing her the laptop images. So I would do the light reflex, and then he would show her what it was with the picture. So those are, really, they can help with a lot of it.
Yeah. And then you mentioned showing pictures to her on a laptop. So what kind of pictures are those?
So we do the ones that kind of look like the apple, I would say, that not as detailed as the bee necessarily, but I flip through. So it's a slideshow. We have black and white outlines of a flower, elephant, a bear, apple. So we'll just show it to her and say, this is an apple, Kelly. This is an apple. And it's a way for her to kind of start putting together what she's looking at. And she loves looking at the laptop pictures more than anything. So it's funny because it's something I never would have thought of myself because of the illumination. I think, like you said on the screen, it really captures her attention.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. She
so,
can actually see,
yeah.
she can see them and see them well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Ashley, the next thing we're going to do is, we have parents who pre-submit questions.
Okay.
Now these may not be questions that you feel comfortable weighing in on, but
Okay.
what we're going to do is Colleen will read them out loud if that's okay, and then if you want to jump in and give your thoughts, please do.
Sure.
Yeah.
So the first question we have actually is from Rishu, and I feel that you answered it beautifully, but I want to highlight it. How is this Doman method different from a traditional approach? I like the word conventional personally.
Yeah.
And are children able to have a functional life if they follow this approach?
Sure. So, Spencer, I'm sure you have something to say about this question as well. But I would say it's different I'll make it brief, it's a program that you can do at home. You have a team with you for every area that you can reach within minutes. Obviously, I can reach Melissa, send her a video, say, what do you think about this? So it's an amazing way to just always have a team with you for all areas of the child. I love that it's a whole child program, focusing on nutrition all the way to the mobility and everything in between, because the thing I don't like about conventional is it's very segmented. So you go to GI, then you have to go to vision, then you go to your PT, you go to OT, this and that, everything separate. Whereas this program, it's all in one program, and it feels very well-rounded, where you're not so jumping around to 10 different specialists and you're asking this person, but maybe they don't talk to this person, and it's very segmented. So I love that everything's under one umbrella. I love the check-ins because you're still getting that personal touch of the one-on-one ones that you would get if you were taking your kid to PT, but you're able to not have to run around the entire planet just to get your program done for the week. So it's really streamlined my life. And I love that the program it's a method. It's a proven method. And I know just from watching, when you get that online course, you can tell, it was your grandfather, right? Your grandfather.
My grandfather, Glenn.
So
yeah.
it's been a proven method with proven results. And I think you'll see that very quickly, that when you're doing regular PT and OT, it's kind of a hope. Like, we think that this might help. We're trying to help. But with this, you get a very clear understanding right away, and you see the results, that it's a proven method to get to a certain result. And I just noticed a huge difference with results.
Yeah. And you mentioned the segmentation for most families. They're going to all these different professionals. And not only is it segmented, those professionals don't talk to each other. So,
no,
if we take, for example, Callie, if someone was able to kind of peer into our when we create Callie's program, like all the children on our program, our team meets and we develop the program. And what will often happen is we'll say, okay, this child has visual problems, hearing problems, tactile, mobility, speech issues.
Yeah.
And we'll say, okay, what are the priorities? And in Callie's case, especially in the beginning, it was like my team, the cognitive team, that needed more time, right? We need to get her seeing better and hearing better and feeling better. And the physical staff will even say, okay, fine. Because if we're going to motivate her to move, she has to see something first.
Yeah. And right? I do want to jump in with the seeing, because in traditional PT and OT, the thing that I was noticing is they were like flashing lights, and I would never say anything bad about I really loved the therapist and everything, but the actual method, it seemed that we weren't really tackling. They're like, oh, well, she's not looking at the light, right? So she's not looking at the light. But there wasn't any clear path on how to get her to look at the light. Like we just kept doing the same thing over and over. Like, and she wasn't interested. So it's like, well, where do you go from here? Right. And then when I met with you guys, I felt like you were like, okay, well, this is exactly the daily steps that we need to take to get her to be interested in the light. And it felt like very specific, clear, and like you knew what you were talking about. Like, this is what you do. And it was like, oh, wow, this is like a weight off my shoulders, because you're not just guessing, you actually know this is the path. And you can start with a kid who, like Callie, who is, not looking at all, and this is where you start. Or if you have another kid, you know exactly where to start to get them to improve. So it's not a guessing.
Yeah, exactly. And so even when our team, for example, in the beginning, we might say, okay, we're going to focus on sensory development because we've got to get their sensory development strong so that Callie is motivated to move. And 6 months later, when Callie comes back for her next visit and she's seeing better and hearing better, we might then shift our attention and say, okay, we're going to do a much bigger mobility program now because, and so there's a little bit of a friendly competition amongst the different departments when we're creating a program for a child. Of kind of like, all right, who's going to get the time? But in the end, you've got to do what's best for the kid, right?
Yeah. And I love that your book, so basically you talk about like graduating the program, right?
Yes. Yeah. That's the ultimate goal.
Right. I love how you have these milestones and you have clear reflexes and clear responses that you're looking for that then says, okay, now this is the next step. Whereas I never really felt that way with other programs. I felt like it was kind of a set, like this is what we do all the time for every patient, no matter like where they're at.
Yeah.
It didn't feel very customized. And I feel like you guys really understand where Callie's at. And you also know as soon as she does reach even a slight improvement, what to do then. And you change it up. So it's really cool because as a parent too, it's easy to miss improvements if nobody's saying that it's an improvement. So like,
good point.
I think validating your kid's improvements is awesome. And you're doing stuff all the time to help your kid. But if the PT and OT isn't recognizing it as an improvement, you might not notice it as much. So I love this program too, because it really helps you focus on all the small wins, all the small improvements, which inevitably makes you feel more motivated. You're validating your kid. The morale is up. And I think it lends itself to a higher success than if you're just getting told, oh, she's not sitting. Oh, she's not looking. She's not doing this. So I love that we have reachable milestones that I'm like, oh no, this is an improvement. This is an improvement. And it keeps my morale up.
Yeah. And, just to finish up on Rishu's question. So Rishu asked about getting a child more functional. That is the whole goal of the program. I personally love the word functioning or functional because it relates to the ability to do something. And that's what we're trying to do with the program. We're trying to help children do things that they haven't done before. And just to add to what Ashley was talking about, how knowing what is the milestone you're reaching, and then when you reach that milestone, you can stop that activity and moving on. One of my grandfather's rules for the program is that everything that we teach parents to do, every treatment that we do should be self-eliminating. Meaning if you do it enough, you should eliminate the need for doing it, which is very different from a lot of therapy or equipment, which is produced for kids with special needs, which is created to build a reliance, right? Where now the child is reliant on that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yep, I love that. Absolutely. And I do love, I'm a holistic mom. So this was a real shock for me because I am like the organic, we do everything as holistic as possible. My kids go to a naturopath. I was like totally, you know, doing a 180 here with Kelly because I had to get into the hospital world, the drugs, and I was like, oh my God, this is my worst nightmare, right? So I think for any moms, you know, who do lean towards holistic, I love that your program's ultimate goal is to get as much holistic healing as possible and not rely on drugs for the rest of your life. And I also love that if a drug is needed, you guys, it's not like it's some programs are like we're only holistic or we're only this, but you guys help integrate what's ever needed. But the ultimate goal is to get the child so that they don't need as much medication and that they're able to thrive without it. And I love that you do have doctors that we're working with too, who understand all the medications. Like I have a call with Dr. Aravan coming up to talk about one of the medications and some of the side effects. And so you're getting all of the knowledge base that you would get talking to doctors at the hospital as well. Yeah. So it's like this whole amazing, well-rounded team.
Great. Colleen, do we have other questions that were sent in advance?
Yes. We have a question from Annie. It just says preemie with delayed movements.
Okay. That's all the information we have?
That's it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, listen, the most common etiological factor that we see, meaning the most common factor that leads to problems with brain development in the 40,000 children that we see, is premature birth. It's the most common thing. And it makes complete sense, right? The child didn't have enough time during pregnancy to, have all the brain development that was necessary. And usually premature birth also can be more traumatic. There could be a lack of oxygen, hypoxia. So it's usually accompanied by other things. So delayed movement and prematurity, two of the most common factors that we see with children. And by the way, our program should probably be used with every premature child in the world, whether they present with medical issues or not, as a way to prevent the onset of symptoms. I was talking to one mom via messaging, also named Annie. So I wonder if it's the same mom, maybe. But this mom has been doing our program at home, has a 15-month-old. And she was asking me some questions about mobility development, but her child is 15 months old. But because she's done our early reading program, he reads words. He's 15 months old and he speaks 150 words, which is way beyond an average 15. Most 15-month-olds speak maybe 2 to 10 words, and this kid's speaking 150. So she was like, cognitively, he's way beyond his peers. He's just a little delayed in his mobility. So absolutely the Doman method can help. That's my short answer, Ashley.
Yeah. I mean, I would say to add on to that, like I didn't get Callie started with Doman until she was 1. What was she? 1? No, 1.5. She was 1.5. So I wish more than anything that I would have learned about your program when she was a newborn, because I know for sure that we would have been able to skip a lot of hard times within that first year because of all of the things that you guys would have helped me with right out the gates. So like I wouldn't delay, like the sooner the better, in my opinion, because you could save yourself a lot of hospital visits, a lot of unnecessary appointments, and just get to the meat and potatoes of how we're getting my kid on track. And so I would I wish you would have been like in the hospital and been like, okay, we're going to do this now. See you guys.
Any more, Colleen?
Actually, just one more. This is from Rachel. Rachel and I are in touch, but I think it would be helpful to answer this here. I know she's probably almost certainly not listening in because she's in Papua New Guinea and it's just about 2 a.m. there. But if you are, Rachel, hey. She wants to know, have you worked with young adult special needs persons 18 years and above? And if yes, what was generally the success rate?
So yes, we've worked with many young adults and old adults, up until, 60s, 70s, and 80s, people who have had strokes and brain injuries, but also people who were born with neurodevelopmental conditions. So absolutely. And actually, just because of the question, I'm thinking of a young man that I know in the UK who started our program about a year and a half ago. He was 18 years old. He was specifically diagnosed with autism, and he's just had incredible gains. I mean, at 18 years of age, speaking in sentences for the first time. He learned to read for the first time in his life, reads books. He's writing now. He's much less hyperactive, much more, socially engaged than before. So, neuroplasticity, which is the brain's ability to change, it exists throughout our lifetimes. And so there really is no such thing as too old to start.
Love that.
All right. We've got maybe 3 more minutes. Colleen, do you have any other questions for Ashley before we wrap up?
Yeah, I guess my question for you is, what has this program, has this time with the program, has it changed your, dreams for Callie?
Yeah, so I think, it's interesting because I've always had the vision that Callie will be well. And I didn't know exactly how I would make it happen or how it would happen, but I just always went, I had a positive outlook on Callie's life, and I always saw her potential. And so I think what this program has done is it's given me a team that also has the same mindset. And that alone is very powerful, because you can do a lot as a mom, but it's even more powerful when you have a group that's knowledgeable and supporting you and also has the vision that it's possible. So I would say, if you are an optimistic person in general, and, sometimes it can be a little demoralizing at hospital settings and just in general with labels and what's wrong. And this program has really made my life a lot more positive. And I look forward to the calls, and I always leave the calls feeling excited. It's the only appointment that I'm excited to go to. So I usually am like, oh gosh, this was coming up. I gotta go do this. So this feels like an exciting journey, not something I dread. And so that's been a big change. And, they say, what is it? It's always impossible until it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's what I love about your program is you help moms focus on what's possible. And whereas the rest of the world kind of focuses a little bit more on limitations.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a big difference.
Awesome.
Ashley, I'm going to ask you a question just for out of my own interest, because you mentioned optimism and positivity, to which a pessimistic person would say kind of like, well, what is there to be optimistic about? There's so many hardship.
Yeah.
But it's something I've noticed, working with you, that you're optimistic. I was wondering, do you have any practices for staying optimistic, even with all the tough times that you've had?
Yeah. So actually, I had a thought popping through as you were asking me, and now I'm drawing a blank. But I basically did want to talk about mindset a lot. And I think that, when you have a special needs kid, I think it's automatically you think, oh, this is sad, or this is not what I was expecting. And it almost feels like you're missing something, or you wanted something more. And I think that lends to the feelings that a lot of moms have. And what I'm trying to do is really change the script on that, because, if any kid that you have things that you work on them with. And if you really view it as it's this person that they need help in this area, and it's kind of like an honor to be able to help that person become better. And really, even in any time in life, things can happen that are just not what you expected. And so I never look at the situation with Callie as like this thing that's like negative in my life, that I try to look at it as it's this opportunity to help this being that came to me. And I'm going to help her just like I would my son, Stevie, who maybe he has anger issues, or my other son, you know, just needs help in this area. So I don't really try to make it so different. And that really helps me a lot. But I think too, like, no matter what situation you have in your life, if you're negative about it, it's not going to help the outcome any more than if you make it fun, happy. You're pretty much always going to get a better outcome if you're excited about it, happy about it, remain positive. So I kind of look at it like that. Well, how is this helping me to be sad about it? It's just not helping at all. So I think moms can kind of, my goal is to be able to help moms just wake up and say, you know what, let's make this fun. Why does it have to be a sad life? It can actually be fun. And I do find that my connection with Callie is just as good as or even better sometimes, as my connection with my other two boys, because it's your child, and you can find ways to connect with them no matter what. And that's my ramble. But I think too, it helps my husband and I, we do a lot of mindset things together, and we just have stuck a team. And when one of us is having a rough day, or if I am having a rough day, like, he always builds me up. And I think that's another really key thing, is staying together as a family and just keeping it upbeat.
That's great. Well, we'll leave it at that. Well, Ashley, thank you so much for joining and talking about your experience. We really appreciate it. Keep up the great work.
Thank you. Well, thank you for being a part of our life, and I'm excited to see you guys. My next session, or my next visit with you guys, is going to be in September now.
Yay, we'll see you then. That'll be
Great. We look forward to it. All right, Ashley, talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.